and PRESCOM, the Presidential Committee on Small and Light Weapons. I was applauded. More than 700 rifles and pistols were recovered from these young men. And more than 900 of them came and surrendered to the amnesty program. The UN and PRESCOM with the security agencies came and supervised, and I launched the destruction of these weapons.
So that they can't find their way in one form or the other
back to the society. That was what I did. I don't buy into thuggery. Go to Benue State today, you don't see one thug, no political thug, because my election was ordained by God and God caused it to happen. And so I have no business arming any thug or buying into the issue of bringing thuggery into the system and getting them to manipulate any election for me. So the issue is that the law on prohibition of open grazing and provision for ranches provides for livestock guards. This is what we did. And there is no provision for arm. The government did not arm anybody. Admitted, even when I did the amnesty program at the inception of my government, not all the people
bought into it or brought out.
So people, so there's some pockets of criminal activities that were going. But the amnesty program was in two ways. One, the carrot approach, which required that bring it in voluntarily. We even give you some stipend for returning those weapons, a kind of compensation. And that we did. And the current one that is going on is the stick approach. So the security men are mandated to go after anyone with weapons to apprehend them and arrest them and prosecute them according to the law. These ones that surrendered, we granted them amnesty. I would say, please go and sin no more. This is what we did. So it is mischievous for anyone to say that I armed any militia group or livestock guard. Livestock guard had no arms. All the equipments I gave them, the vehicles and the uniforms we gave them, had nothing like, even a knife, they were not allowed to carry because their role was to complement the conventional security agencies of the state. And that is what they have been doing. As I talk to you, they have actively supported the security agencies. We have apprehended over 400 herdsmen who have violated our law. And more than 40 of them have been convicted.
In courts of law?
Yes, for violating the law. And I tell you the truth, those people are saying that to change the narrative, as I said there. If not, if I have 6,000 militia, as was alleged, how
that was actually the
my
number.
People come in and be slaughtered and be killed in the manner up till today, as I'm talking to you? The thing has not left us. I commend the efforts of the federal government. I commend the security agencies. They have not been spared. If there are soldiers who were killed, policemen are killed in their numbers. Civil defense have been killed. SS have been killed. They have done their best. They have been doing everything possible to ensure that we have peace. Unfortunately, these people became so powerful. But the current operation that Mr. President sent to Benue, since the start of the operation, there has been relative calm. But there are pockets of challenges here and there, but they are also mobilizing and they are working very well. And I believe that in no distant time, they'll be able to eliminate this.
A lot of people will be happy to hear you say that, because when I spoke to you in January, you didn't express this level of confidence in the security forces in particular.
Yeah.
In the intervening period, of course, the president has been to Benue himself.
Yes.
Because some of his critics had said when that happened, he didn't even come to Benue to empathize and so on. The vice president has been there, I believe, even more than once.
Yes.
In the intervening period.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, in relation to this matter and to try to establish some level of peace. But now, if I get you correctly, the security operation is much more effective.
Very much effective with what is happening. Of course, when Mr. President visited, we appreciated him and did ask then the security apparatus that was in place specifically for this crisis was exercise cat race. But cat race, since it was an exercise, it wasn't an operation. So it was more of training of young men who were recruited into the Nigerian army. And then, of course, they can try to support and ensure security during the training. But it wasn't a full operation. So when Mr. President visited, we requested that he should upgrade the exercise to an operation. And I think this is what
has resulted.
And several other things that we proposed to him that he should do for us. Some are in the pipeline, some are on the way. And of course, the follow-up of Mr. Vice President's visit went a long way in trying to give answers to some of those questions that were raised during Mr. President's visit. For instance, the issue of providing security so that the IDPs can go back. Today, as I said, the Operation Wide Stroke is very effective and it is ongoing. So I believe that at the end of it, we should be able to have relative peace for our people to go back. That is the first step. Then the issue of rehabilitating these homes that have been destroyed. In our interim report, we have put together the destruction that has been caused by these people since January to date to be over 400 billion naira. And,
that's in terms of property destroyed,
yes,
infrastructure, human lives, and so on.
In more than 13 local governments of the state. And including the food produce.
That's right.
That as the food basket of the nation, it was a big challenge because it was when people were harvesting that this crisis started.
I wanted to ask you about the IDP camps that you mentioned.
Yes.
During the visits of some of these more senior government officials, the Minister of the Interior, the Vice President, the President, they always visit these IDP camps. And while there, they make promises because you request almost consistently for assistance in various forms for these IDPs, even to survive before they go back to their original residences and all of that, and even after. What has been the response like to that in particular? Your requests for help and so on. What was the situation with in the IDP camps?
The situation is not very pleasant. You see, having 180,000 human beings in 8 IDP camps, and these are not standard camps. These are primary schools. It is just one camp in Abagna that was meant for flood victims. Dangote is the chairman. We sought his permission to make some temporary. It is not even completed. It's under construction. But given the situation we found ourselves, we gave it out. That camp alone is hosting over 34,000 people. So it's a big challenge. And the rest of the camps are primary schools. And you can imagine a primary school, no matter how big that primary school is, hosting 26,000, 30,000, 36,000 people in one place. So it is a big challenge. You can imagine a family of 16 or even 20. Your wives and children are in that kind of camp. You can imagine the environment. Then the issue of providing assistance to them, food and non-food items, is another big challenge. It is a weight on my government, a state that is battling with economic problems when salaries are not paid as at when due, and it's a big challenge. I appreciate some of my colleagues from other states who have sent help. A lot of them have responded, they have sent help, even without asking.
That's right.
Some spirited individuals have also supported some corporate organizations when they heard or when they saw. And at this time, let me use this medium to commend channels. You have done well You have really supported us. We appreciate your cooperation and help throughout our trying period. It is deeply appreciated because people heard this through your medium and were able to reach out to us. And you're always handy to try to publicize the activities of the IDPs. It is commended. And so, but one thing we have done through the support we have gotten and what the government is doing, with the assistance of the civil societies, I must commend them, we have been able to provide professional support to all those camps using our SEMA office to give support. So there hasn't been...
SEMA being the State Emergency
Management Agency. So there hasn't been any difficult challenge that has not been surmounted. As I talk to you, faith-based organizations are there. They're providing some emergency education for our children because the population I've given you, more than 60% of these are children who were going to school. And then it happened. So it's a big challenge. Some individuals have even come to help. Our universal basic education have also set up some emergency in this camp. And we're giving some emergency
schooling for those who are unable to go back to the regular schools.
But beside this 180,000, there are over 500,000 who are living with relatives who could not afford to live in this camp. So if you go to Makurdi now, if you go to Logo, if you go to Agatu, you see the urban areas are completely filled. And it's a big challenge managing. The vice president came. We were able to visit 4 of these camps